What's going on? Yes.
B2G Live. Yes. We are so happy to have you here tonight with us. As you're chilling with us, we're rocking up. We got our matching shirts on, and we're hanging out in hubby's man cave.
You see all the stuff, all that stuff right there,
Let
boy.
him have his moment.
Yeah.
Let him have his moment.
Yeah, you got to love. Yeah, you got
Detroit all around.
Detroit Pistons, baby. Detroit Pistons, boy. Got the 5 back there, boy. Representing, baby.
Yes. We're coming here comfortable. We are relaxed. We thank you so much for joining in with us tonight. As I said before, those that are on YouTube, that are those who will join us on Instagram as well as Facebook.
Yes.
Hey, give us a shout out of where you're reaching out to us at. If you're what state, let's do some state shout outs. You see the comment section, babe? Yep, there you go.
There we go.
Where you're representing from, let's represent. Let's come on in. This is also for replay as well.
Yes.
But we are so excited about having you, as we said before, and we always we kick it off with
talking about a date that we've been on.
Yes.
Actually, our last date, we actually went to go see Bad Boys.
Yeah, we saw Bad Boys, but what about the time before? Activate.
Yeah.
Now, see, that's the one I want to talk about.
Oh, that Activate was the bomb, boy. I mean, Lord, you got to be in shape to play Activate. All those games, boy, on different rooms.
We did a double date with another couple. Shout out to the Jacksons who invited us out.
Yes.
And when I say, okay, this is so funny. I left my watch at home, and I usually can calculate my steps and calculate my calories. And so Dennis had his on. So I'm like, we are one. Yeah. So what did you burn on that night? And he was like 850 calories. I was like, all right, that's what we burn. I'm claiming those calories. So I was sweating, but it was so much fun. Before you knew, 75 minutes was up. And yes, so we're trying to incorporate with our date nights to have activities to move around, not always eating. And we're not knocking eating. We want you to do that to nourish your body. But after we did that, babe, we deserve our meal.
Yes.
We work for our for real.
Yeah, man. We worked. It was a good time and good cardio. I mean, just really
enjoying each other.
We
competitive.
We 50, man, but we was moving like we 20.
But I felt it the day after.
Yeah.
Epsom
she
salt.
felt it. I ain't feel it though.
Well, I'm talking about myself. I had my lavender Epsom salt. I was like, no shame in my game.
I was tight.
I'm glad you were tight. I was tight. Not. I'm doing good today, but I plan on going back. Yeah. So if you have an Activate that's in your city or they're new, they're starting to pop up all over. It is a great team building opportunity as well as a great date night, girls night, guys night. I'm telling you, it's A1. So, but that's what we wanted to talk about today. But we have, for the first time, drum roll. We have our first guest here on B2G Live, y'all.
Yes.
It's been a long time coming. Those who have been rocking with us for a while here with Better Together with Dennis and Lonnie C. We started streaming. We started streaming about a few months back?
Probably around February.
Yeah. We started doing this, and now we're dipping into we're going to bring experts on that are talking about that are in their field. And what a great topic to jump off to start today about having emotionally healthy relationships.
Relationships, yes.
How many of us need that? I mean, and so we're gonna just pull as much as we can out of our expert here today, LaShanda Banks, and then she brought along her amazing husband.
A man of God. Not man of God, man of God.
So we are like, man.
Yes.
And it surprised us. We like, I must be your favorite daughter.
Added treat, baby. Added treat, boy.
So we're really going to have a great time tonight just doing that. And we're going to have a Q&A section after a little bit, a while later on. And please put the questions in the comment section, wherever you're on YouTube or Facebook. We will definitely get them and we'll post them. And we'll definitely ask our expert tonight about this, about healthy, emotional, keeping our relationships healthy. It is so imperative. Hey, Mom. Thanks for chiming in tonight.
Hey, Mama.
And so with that being said, we're also
that's my mama
shouting out. No, that's my mama. We're also chiming, it's saying we want to promote also these shirts that we're rocking tonight. Also another Kingdom business, husband and wife duo, Kingdom Apparel. They have a great ministry that they do with shirts. This one says, "I'm with him, I'm with her," and it does we're with Jesus, and it's Ecclesiastes 4:9. So they're a great message shirts. So we're doing a big shout out to Kingdom Apparel. Definitely. Dennis is over here doing his technical stuff.
Yeah.
So
I can't get in there. Well, I'm trying to type it in there. You know what I'm saying? So.
Yeah, I know. Your technical stuff.
Yeah, yes.
All right. Well, what we're going to do is we have them sitting in the backstage, but I want to just pull them in and so we can introduce this amazing couple, and let's just pull them right on in and let's give a round of applause. I wish I had Welcome.
What's up, Banksis?
Oh, good evening.
So happy to have you both here with us tonight. We're just ready to fully get started with this because we really want to hear what you have to say. But I really want to read some of your credentials here. I believe hubby sent them to me. Yeah. I had them pulled up. Just to talk just a little bit, I really enjoy reading this because certain things that popped out to me. But she's a counselor. LaShanda Banks is a counselor. There's LPC. NCC. Okay. Got all these letters. We're gonna talk about some letters. Husband, he like all these letters. They mean something. Okay. She worked hard for the letters.
Exactly.
She says, no matter a person's position in life, your mental health will always take precedence and determine your quality of life and how well you perform. It's an honor to be a provider and an advocate for mental health. That really stood out to me. Yeah. She said, I'm a licensed professional counselor with over a decade of experience providing services to various populations, including children, adolescents, adults, couples, families. Above all of her accolades, she says, I'm a human. And I know that at some point and at several points in your lifetime, you will need guidance and support. Mm-hmm. So she's very personable.
Very.
When she says she's trained and skilled in treatment of for depression, anxiety, trauma, physical, emotional, sexual, etc., anger, mood shifts, and grief. Her practice, it says evidence-based interventions and proven results such as cognitive, behavioral, dialectical behavior. I was holding my breath trying to get past that part. I was like, I'm gonna get that one right. Solution focus, mindfulness, trauma-informed care, person-centered, etc. Mm-hmm. Life presents challenges that we are not always prepared for, and it becomes difficult to regain ground. You don't have to navigate these valleys on your own. Humanity is a demonstration of strength and offers internal empowerment. We want to welcome everyone, LaShanda Banks. Wow, that is
in the interview right there, boy. Shoot.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. You come loaded with so much. We want people to know that we're not talking to just anybody. You are an expert in this. And I know from just our time with you, we know most importantly, you are a child of God. So we know that's over everything else to be able to even have the grace to do all of this.
Yes.
You have the grace of God because you're a child of God.
Yes.
You're his daughter.
Yes.
And so, love to, now that we've introduced you, love for you we roll it over to your husband, or the one sitting right to you. Could you tell us a little bit more, Darren, or you want to introduce yourself to everybody?
I would love to introduce Darren. Just give me I want to point out something.
Yes.
When you was just calling out my credentials, LPC, NCC, years and years ago, before I even had those letters, I used to write my name with the credentials behind it because I knew exactly what I wanted to get.
Wow.
My husband was passing by me in the living room as I was writing, and he said, God told me to tell you he'll make your name great.
Wow. Look at God.
And praise God. years ago. That was a long time ago.
Oh my God, my God.
He said that. God told me to tell you he'll make your name great. And that just it sat with me.
Yeah.
It still did to the, I can tell you some more about that another day.
But that's blessing me right there.
Definitely.
That's write your vision down. You have to write it down. You have to see it. That's faith. You have to see it before it happens.
That's right. That's right. He prophesied to you. Yes.
And your name, make your name great, and bring you before
great men.
Great men. That's scripture. That's biblical.
That part.
Right.
Proverbs 18:16. So yeah, absolutely. So
man.
So his husband, Darren Banks. Darren is an investigator with Shelby County Sheriff Department. He's been in law enforcement for probably about 17 years.
Wow.
And he still loves it. And
that's awesome.
100% love it. I see people in passing all the time telling me how good my husband made them feel in the worst time of their lives. So that always make me feel good.
That's awesome.
Loves people. He asked me was it yesterday what I love about him? And I said, people, you respect women. I know that if a woman is around, and don't let her be pregnant, but if a woman is around, she's in good hands. My husband is going to take care of her, so those little things mean a whole lot. This is a man, a character. I'm not going to cry.
I'm about to make it.
Wow.
This is the first man I witnessed be a parent. I'm introducing a great man. He loves God and God loves him.
Amen.
Thanks.
Amen.
Amen. That's round of applause. Wow. That blessed me. That blessed. I'm telling you, when your woman speaks highly about
that's
you.
Huge. That's huge.
10 toes down about you. And before she even introduced you, she said how you spoke life over her. The bio that came forth and the letters that we laughed about at the beginning, how you prophesied over her and how it still stands true. And for her to say these great, amazing things about you, that says a lot about the character of who you are. So
interestingly, it's I had a wise man tell me a long time ago, you can tell how the marriage is by the countenance of the wife. And so I always make it lay person and say, you can tell the woman is the window side of the marriage.
Yeah.
And so God always told me that, when you go to a shopping center or somewhere, go to a shoe store, you see stuff in the window. If you see stuff in the window, sometimes the stuff in the window will make it go in the store. And if the stuff is janky in the window, you be like, hey, that's janky. I'll pass. I'm walking past. But what draws you in is what's in that window. And so when I met Shonda, because I'm putting myself out here. Shonda's my therapist, y'all.
Yes.
I'm selfish with her, so you can't have her. You know what I'm saying? But no, she's my therapist. I see her on a monthly basis. She's been a blessing to me. But when I met her, I said I gotta meet her husband.
Yep, that's the first thing.
I gotta meet her husband because I see how she is, and she talked about Darren often during the therapy sessions. And so I said, I gotta meet this guy, man. I gotta meet him because I'm looking at his wife. I know he off the hook. So it's just honored I thank you for allowing your wife to be a gift to me and my family, because it's not only saved me, but it's blessed my marriage, blessed how my children, how I deal with my children.
Yes.
So I appreciate you doing that and being a blessing and letting her flow in her gifting and everything. And then, I know she's been doing this 16 years, right? You've been a therapist for 16 years, right? Just as much, about 16 years, right? 17 years. So long song, because he's been a law enforcement officer. So that's awesome. Yeah.
And thank you for your service.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yes,
absolutely.
for your service and still enjoying it and loving it. That's, that's key, that you're called to do that. That's a calling. Right. Definitely. Both of you have callings. So
definitely.
Yes. Yeah.
So, yeah.
All righty. Well, you ready to deep dive into some questions?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Well, we want to first start off, Shonda, with just getting a little bit of background of what got you started with, is it psychotherapy, or would just give us a little bit what got you started into that?
Okay, I am a psychotherapist. years ago when I went to college, just to be honest and transparent, I didn't have the insight to consult God and say, hey, what do you want me to do with my life? I just happened to be on the path, but God is a sovereign God, so he put his children right where they need to be.
Yes.
You know? So, but he did confirm to me once I was in my career that I was where he wanted me to be. And so I worked out in corporate world for a while. I don't know how long, probably about 14 years or so. And I was just in prayer with God, just talking about certain things. And I was getting on 65 North like most people do, if you're familiar with this area. And I felt my life was really robotic. And I just made it a point of prayer to just pray about where I was in my life. And that was probably about 6 years ago. And just one random day in November, God told me to leave my job. And at that point, I had really built a pretty stable, pretty solid career in what I was doing, had been promoted, and was at my peak in my career. As a clinical director, I was making great money, but something was missing. And God told me that November morning, he woke me up at 5 o'clock and said, it's time to go.
Oh, wow.
He said, it's time to go. And I told Darren, I said, I got to resign from my job today. I got to put my resignation in. And he said, well, God told you to go. You got to go. So I put the resignation letter in that day. And that's when I opened up my own practice.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and another thing, I had missed out on our kids, like especially our oldest girl. We have 4 kids, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah. And my son is 12. And then we have 3 teenage daughters who are 16, 17, and one is almost 21. But I still call her a teenager. Those girls had grown up before my eyes. And I had spent too much time trying to build my career. And I blinked my eyes and I had 3 teenage daughters.
Wow.
And I'm looking at them like, I was just putting grits on y'all hair yesterday.
Right.
So it just put things in perspective for me. God was just like, you got to get off this path. You have to stop living in, you know, you have to live with a deeper purpose.
Yeah.
And that's what prompted me to open up my practice. And I've been open at 7 Wellness here in Calera for going on 6 years.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
That's
Just following the leading of the Holy Spirit and being obedient. You know, it talks about being willing and obedient. You know, you can hear the voice of God and be like, well, no, I'll pass on it. But you moved on it. And to have the support of your husband to say, you heard from God? Okay, then do what to have that peace.
And it wasn't easy. Trust me.
Okay.
It sounds easy, but it was not easy.
I'm quite sure.
A really big sum of income in our house. So we had to eat some chicken and rice for about a week at one point, but we made it through.
Even when she was in the process of getting ready to leave, they're like, no, stay. We'll offer you some more money. And I'm like,
my goodness. The carrot.
You might need to keep driving a little bit. I don't know. It sounds good.
Oh God.
Yeah, that's tough. Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like I said, it wasn't easy. The offer wasn't bad at all. But God, He's my ultimate provider. Like, good is that money when God says this is not for you.
This is not for you. Wow.
I have something planned that's bigger than money.
Yeah.
He really have put things in perspective to me where the abundance of life has nothing to do with money.
Right.
Absolutely nothing at all. It's the quality of the time you have, the peace of mind you have, the time with your family. You know, those things, being present so important. And not just we're in partnership, but before we was just working together. And today we're present with each other. We enjoy each other. Our friendship is solid. We don't like each other sometimes, but we love each other. We are crazy about each other.
Yeah.
So like sometimes we have to take a step back, and I often reference this to Dennis. It's like we have to get off society's curriculum.
Yeah.
Yes.
Know the difference between society's curriculum and what the divine plan is. We have to know when God speaks to us, and He's not gonna require that we operate like everybody else do.
That's true. That's true.
That's
That
good.
is so true.
You said something very key. You said it was hard. I want to speak to that a little bit, because people, I mean, you know, we hear about the spiritual sacrifice that we have, you know, and you talked about, you know, you all are crazy about each other and your marriage is tight. Emotionally, how did that test your marriage?
Yeah, that's a good question.
How did that test your marriage? Because that's because I know things have hit up against our boat. And then we like, whoa, what's going on? You know, the sacrifice we had to make, and it was an emotional changes that had to take place, some emotional adjustments to what God was doing. So emotionally, how did you all deal with that?
Well, I want to say that time alone, like if we're not careful, when we step outside of our comfort zone, and if we're not careful, if we're not being mindful and intentional, we will get in despair and depression because things are not feeling good, and we can be some entitled people and think we supposed to feel good all the time, but we're not supposed to feel good all the time, but not feeling good. And I think Darren felt a whole lot of pressure because, again, like we went from having 2 incomes to really just having 1 income. Things just looked different. I started feeling inadequate, like my self-esteem was dropping. I can say this, I was in some dark places at times, you know. I was having crying spells. I was just isolating myself. We was having to tell our kids they couldn't do certain things, you know, and that's tough on parents, you know. So I can just remember, even Darren, I tell your business anyway, so
He does. Open and transparent. Yeah.
Let me tell you about Darren. This is also, it drew us like so close emotionally, and we learned how to make it with each other emotionally and spiritually, because you know when you at the bottom of the barrel, only thing you know to do is call Jesus.
That's it.
You gotta call Jesus.
Call on Jesus.
But what I seen from my husband is I learned the pressure that he carries as a man and the head of the household. That big title was really to him. And so I seen times where he kind of broke down, and that was new. And I'm seeing him, I'm like, if he's breaking down, we all about to die. Like
right.
The same thing,
yeah.
But I needed to see that. I needed to see where it hurts. I needed to see the core and the rawness of those emotions, so I can understand my husband better, you know, can understand his fight to be a good, solid Christian man. Like that's what I started to see. Like he's been fighting his life to be a solid man, to be accepted by God, you know, his father, ultimate father, you know. So a lot came out, even his feelings about feeling abandoned and rejected by his father. When I thought my husband loved his father, let me tell you, his father was a great man. He passed about, I guess, 16, 17 years ago. He was a Harlem Globetrotter.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. So, and every time they had an interaction, it was always, he was so honored to be talking to his dad. So when he said that during that time when we was having a hard time, when I took that leap of faith and just resigned from my job, is when I realized, like, when he opened up about his feelings about his dad not teaching him how to be a man, And he said, now I got to be a husband and a father.
Yeah.
You want to talk more about that?
No, not really.
I put him on the spot.
The biggest thing is when you're the head of that household, you feel that weight of, okay, I have to take care of everything. I have to make sure everything's in line and order. Otherwise, I don't know how Father God is going to look at me if I'm not, taking care of my house. But the thing is I had no blueprint. I had, instruction manual. I had, some uncles along the way to, hey, don't do this, do that, don't do this. Other than that, I'm learning as we go, and it's a process. Right. So you get to that point where you're stuck. You hit this brick wall, but you have nowhere to reach around, nowhere to go, nobody, for advice. You get to that point where it's like, oh man, what do I do now? What do I do now? And thank God, I turned to God. Yeah. Because I could have turned to anything else and just gave up, fell into the depression, stayed into depression, but I chose God and allowed him to pull me out of where I was. So
go ahead, Shonda.
And even, in that hardship though, like I think God give us things like God, like we never without a parent, it's some things we know, and we'd be like, how do I know to do those things? I wasn't taught those things. I don't know if y'all remember at the beginning, I said, this is the first man I witnessed being a parent.
I heard that. Yeah.
So when we had our girls and they were little girls, I didn't have to say wash their hair. I didn't have to say that. He would wash their hair. He would do their hair with no problems. One night he washed their hair and I was boo-hoo crying. And he was like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, I'm pretty sure my dad never washed my hair. But how validating a young girl, like for a kid for their dads to do their hair, but I never seen a man be a parent. Like we were when our kids were newborns, we were supposed to take turns at night getting up. He would get up on my turn. So I'm like, there's no sense of us both missing out on sleep. So.
That's good.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And sometimes when we think we don't have a father or guidance, we really do, because you showed up that way, and you, despite not having a father, you've been great dad.
The Heavenly Father will show you.
Yeah, he'll show you. And and speaking to what Darren said about not having a blueprint. Hey, that when you're someone who's trailblazing is it can be tough because you don't have. I mean, you got God the Father, you got people that come by and and show you uncles and stuff like that. But at the same time, you're in a situation where you're learning, by trial. You're learning by trial and error. You're learning by having your own kids. I know with me, I pretty much had to learn that way, but sometimes I did hit some stuff in the road because I didn't know how to be as compassionate to my children, and I wasn't mean to them, but you wanted them to not fall in the same ditches you fell in. So sometimes I was a little too hard on the boys, but I had to learn. God had to teach me how to be more compassionate, more loving, and teach them and having more of a love as a father. And sometimes, like I said, emotionally, the traumas of your past will kind of, in my situation, projected through some of the things that I did as a parent and as a husband. I mean, my wife, we've always had a great marriage.
Yes.
And, I mean, I think the hardest thing I had to do was raise kids.
Raising the kids.
I mean, that's the hardest thing. Raising children it's work. It's hard. You know what I'm saying? And so you need God's grace. You need his wisdom to parent those parents' children. So my question to you is, I'm gonna throw a question out there. How do you keep healthy emotionally healthy relationships when a person's dealing with the past hurts and trauma? Did that make sense? How do you deal with an emotionally healthy relationship when a person has dealt with traumas in their past and they project it through their emotional state? Did you hear me? You still there?
I think they paused.
In the pause. Okay, let me see.
Well, let's see if we're still live.
Are we still live? Let me see.
Yeah, we're still live. It's still going.
I think something happened, y'all. Hold on one second, y'all. Had a little technical difficulty here. So
hold on, everybody that's on here. Thank you for hanging in. If you can hear us, hopefully. We'll see if they'll come back.
Yeah.
Maybe they fell off, but we'll come back. Hopefully they'll come right back.
They'll come back.
Technical difficulties.
But it's all good.
Question, man.
A very good question. But while we wait for them to come back, we're gonna go to our commercial and show you our coaching.
Yes.
Here you go.
Hey, we're Dennis
and Lonnie Crawford.
We are the founders of Better Together Marriage Coaching.
Yes.
Thank you so much for checking us out. We are here for you, and we are here for your marriage.
Yes, with over 20 years of marriage, we've weathered the ups and downs.
Yes.
Can you agree, honey?
I totally agree.
Yes, but we've stayed committed to the Word of God. We would like to provide a spirit-led, judgment-free environment for you. So all we want to do is empower and enlighten and bless your marriage.
We put together biblical wisdom with practical tools so you can embrace accountability as well as thrive, grow, and develop.
Yes, whether you're here as a last resort to save your marriage, or you're just getting started, or hey, you just want to spice things up.
Spice it up.
Yes, Better Together is for you.
We love an opportunity to meet with you, Wilani and I,
yes.
to get a free 30-minute consultation. Free of charge. A 30-minute consultation. Just click the link below so you can work out a time that works best for you.
Yes, and we want to say this. If you're listening to this, just know that God loves you, He hears you, and He wants nothing but the best for you.
He wants the best for you, so we look forward to meeting you. God bless.
God bless. All right, you all.
Hey, fam.
We're trying to find out what happened to our guest. Hopefully they're coming back on. It froze up on us.
Yeah, hold on one second.
While we're getting them back, who's in our chat today? Let's see.
What's going on with the chat?
There we go. Comments here. Let's see. Who do we have in here?
Yes, still alive. Still alive. Yes, still alive.
Those are out there.
Can y'all hear?
Can y'all hear us?
Can y'all hear us out there? Just want to make sure y'all still hear us.
This is the fun part of technology. Sometimes it just goes.
I hear you. Okay, you got Marie on here. Okay.
Shout out to everyone. We have Alabama on here. We have Michigan. Big shout out.
Yes.
So they can hear us? Okay.
Yeah, we're still on here. Yeah, we're still on here.
Still on. Okay. Well, I hope that you're getting something out of this, what we've been talking about and discussing. We hope our guests can get back on here.
Hey, cuz. You're loud and clear. Okay, cool.
Awesome. We're gonna keep this moving and hopefully they'll be able to come back. And if you have any questions, you can start putting them in the comment section because we want to keep this moving. He's checking out to see what happened. How did we lose him? We don't know what happened. But yes, please put some questions, some Q&A in here. We're talking about maintaining healthy, emotionally healthy relationships. And not just our marriages, but in relationships that we have at work, with our children, whichever way, if you're dealing with a human being, that's what we're talking about. Yeah. So let's see if we have them back.
We back?
Can you hear them?
Y'all back?
Yes.
Look, buffering a little bit there, but we got y'all back. Yeah, there we go. The devil is alive. Yeah, but
oh my goodness.
Yes.
You're back. Yes. Well, we had a chance to do our commercial, so it all worked out. So hey, oh well.
Good.
Did you hear my question, Shonda?
You can do the question again.
The question, it says, how do you keep an emotional healthy marriage with a person who's dealt with past trauma and hurt?
Mm-hmm.
I think communication is really important.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Communication
is really important.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Individual therapy is important. And being intentional is very important. So, and when I say being intentional, and I mean being intentional, saying I am going to water this marriage. I am going to be intentional in conflict. I'm going to be intentional when I'm upset.
Yeah.
I'm going to be intentional intentional. And I think that's really important. If we're more mindful about our movement, then that's going to help us a whole lot, And a person that's probably dealt with a whole lot of trauma may need a little more reassurance than most people. But if that's your spouse, you should be willing to do it, willing to give them that if that gives them comfort.
Okay. Now, still tagging on, that's so great. Still tagging on to what you just said about the trauma, and you mentioned about spouses. What if it's somebody that's let's say it's someone in your family, not direct, not your kids or something, but it's a cousin or, somebody in your family. How do you handle that being a relationship with them? How does a person to protect their own mental health?
Yeah. So I think what's really important is that you understand how to navigate those relationships, because sometimes people have trauma that maybe you don't have anything to do with, but we have to honor people's experiences, whether we agree with it or not. We can honor people's experiences, and so if they have a certain stance, we can respect and honor that. So if that person probably saying, I don't want to come around family, okay, don't force them to come around family. But if you can still be in relationship with them, you can still be in relationship with them, even despite that they may have ill feelings about your great auntie or whatever. Let that be their business. And you can show up and be some your cousin or your loved one in any way that they allow you to be.
Respecting people's boundaries. It goes both ways with respecting their boundaries, how they feel. I don't want to do certain things, or vice versa. And I've been reading a book about boundaries by Dr. Henry Cloud. And I have been tremendously blessed. It's probably taken me a month and a half, probably almost 2 months to read it, because it's not a quick read, at least not for me, because I found myself in it. I saw family, I saw different situations, life situations in there. How do you deal with, with boundaries? Oh, I think I had a question in regards to boundaries.
Other people's experiences. Yes. Okay.
Yes. How important, we're tagging onto that. How important are boundaries in having an emotionally healthy relationship? How important is that?
That's very important. That's very significant. So here's the thing: in any relationship, friendship, sisterhood, or whatever the case is, in a marriage, what you have to understand is what's important to the other person. Whatever's important to the other person, you have to make it important to you. And that's how we function in healthy relationships. So you telling me you have these boundaries as my friend, as my loved one, as my sister, as my brother, then I have to take that all and protect it because I'm in relationship with you and I want our relationship to grow. And I love you, so I want to protect you. So if you tell me these things are important to you, these boundaries are important to you, then I'm going to make them important to me.
That's good.
That's good.
You got something, babes? You say you still.
I'm still meditating on what she's saying right there. Wow. Man, that's good stuff, man. That's good stuff.
Boundaries is it's a big thing.
It's huge.
Me.
It's huge. It's so no.
Okay, go ahead. Now you got something.
I got something. No, so with boundaries, because you got healthy boundaries and you got unhealthy boundaries. The thing that I see with people who have dealt with real trauma, sometimes they make their boundaries their prison. Where they say, okay, they say, you know what, this person did this, I'm not letting nobody in no more. I guess my question is, and I know what you're gonna say, because
you already.
I know what you're gonna say.
But nobody else don't know. So go ahead and ask for everybody.
How do you navigate through a person in a relationship? How do you navigate to a person who doesn't want, who makes their boundaries a prison, especially when you are in a marriage, or in a relationship that's been you have maybe a long-term relationship, and that person has a boundary where it say, you know what, I don't want nobody, including you, I won't let you in. How do you navigate through that?
Yeah, I think the first thing you got to not be so offended by it. Don't take it personally. So if
Yeah.
they're saying, I'm not going to let you in, then you have to ask yourself, why is it important for me to force my way into a space? What am I trying to prove? Because sometimes we go all out of our way to prove that I'm worthy. Please respect me. Please choose me. But if somebody says, hey, I'm not going to let you in, I think you have to learn your place and stay in it.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, she just right. I mean,
your feelings, Dennis.
He knew what you was gonna say. He already.
He told me that stuff too.
So you said you been told that.
Absolutely. So with that being said, so I know what you said, and this is a thing that I want to ask you, because some people deal with rejection, including me. I've dealt with rejection, and so you spoke to that with me. When a person who's dealing with rejection, how do they deal with that with themselves? Because if they're dealing with people rejecting them and there's no reciprocation taking place, how do that person just kind of say, you know what? What are some of their coping mechanisms or coping skills that it can use in dealing with rejection? When people reject them, it can be a variety of reasons why people reject you. But how does a person who deals with rejection don't get caught up in that I guess that ditch, of feeling rejected?
Yeah, I think one of the most important things that we have to take accountability for is giving other people power. Putting other people on a pedestal, or even putting them in a position where they get to choose or get to accept or reject you. And then you have to ask yourself, how is your identity caught up in somebody's rejection and acceptance?
Ooh, that's powerful.
Yeah, like how do you get caught up like that with and I had to do some deep self-reflection myself, and really understand, like, hey, what's the point you trying to prove? Because this whole accepting and getting rejected thing was heavy on me before, because I wanted everybody to like me, and I wanted, but everybody can like you, but is that a good thing? Is that a good thing? We have to ask ourselves that. And are we being authentic if everybody likes us?
That's no.
I think what we're doing is we just we modifying our personalities to fit the room, to fit the group, whoever we're with. And we shouldn't have to do that. But when we think about rejection, you've given the other person power, and you ask yourself, how does that person meet the criteria? What qualification does this person have to even reject or accept me?
That's true.
So I'm gonna segue into another question. So I'm gonna ask you this. What are some toxic signs that you are in an unhealthy relationship? What are some of the signs that you can see? Person dealing with rejection, dealing with low self-worth. What are some of the signs that the person's in an unhealthy relationship? What are some of the signs that you see?
You're always giving and not receiving. The person is not pouring into you. You can feel that you show up for that person doesn't necessarily show up for you, and we're not going to do tit for tat things, but we need to be mindful, and we also need to treat ourselves well. We can't let people just treat us any kind of way. We have the responsibility to be kind and generous to ourselves. So when you find yourself in those kind of relationship with the other person not listening, I done told you 50 times, don't talk to me this way, and you still talk to me that way, that's a problem. And I have to take responsibility and move differently. If you're not going to change, I have to move differently. So when you see that person is not taking on your values, what's important to you, then you're going to have to make a choice whether you're going to stay in a relationship or not. And if you stay in it, then you may be toxic.
Right. Yeah.
That's another question. You got one?
And that will turn that, and you can become like a man pleaser when you're constantly, when you talked about earlier about becoming a man pleaser, when you're trying to be liked by everyone. I was just going back to your other question, that the comment that you said before, but that we're showing the signs of the toxic relationship and everything. And what's the signs of a healthy, because we never defined what a healthy relationship looks like.
Right.
So we need to go back to that. So, because we know what toxic looks like, but what is a healthy, emotionally healthy relationship? What is that? What does that look like?
What does that look like here?
And that's a good question for you, Darren, because I know you're law enforcement. So I know you deal with I know
variety of relationships.
I know Shonda definitely, but you're out there dealing with good and bad people. I mean, you're dealing with criminals, you're dealing with people, you're dealing with people that's been criminal, and sometimes they were forced to be in that situation because based on their upbringing, based on their environment. Or you got people that's just straight up evil, but you got people that's their victim. They are a victim of their circumstance too. How do you deal with those people out there like that?
With a grain of salt, Right. God teaches not to judge, and that's the hard part when you see it, and it's hard not to judge people. Yeah, you've done this wrong, but you immediately, just because we're human beings and we're not perfect, so of course we want to immediately judge. Like, I don't even want to deal with him. You scum. You're whatever. So that's the biggest hurdle I have. All right, you're still a human being. You made a mistake. Let's work past this. But at the same time, you also coach and try to help the other person. I've told many of victims, hey, look, if I had just a single dime for the times that I've come on repeat calls, that I would be a millionaire. And it's sad because you have to see. So I would say one of the biggest things is feeling safety. And I don't say safety in a physical aspect. I say safety as far as mentally, when you feel mentally safe, when you feel like you can disclose and tell your partner or whatever without being judged or without being ridiculed or without being, persecuted for what you say. When you feel safe spiritually, you feel like you're connected with this person. And then when those things start to fall in place, everything else will fall in place because y'all will truly feel like one at that point, and then everything else will fall in line.
That's good. That's
definitely good.
That's a lot, man. I mean, because it's like, I know it's hard to not pass judgment, especially when you see somebody who's dealt with pedophilia, or did some malicious things. Sometimes, a lot of times, they are a victim of their environment or their circumstance. You don't know what trauma they dealt with in order to get making bad choices too. Because I mean, I know I just served over here in Columbiana Therapeutic Center up here in Columbiana through the church, and those guys in that prison, man, a lot of their families throw them away, and you go in there, man, their heart be so soft for God, and and I guess the thing is, when people are living out there and they doing that, sometimes God will put you in a spot where he keeps you still. And a lot of times prison does that for them. It's rehab for them. But those guys, man, they heart be so like soft towards God, man. And they just like, so humble. And it's like, you go over there. And so they a lot of times they're bad choices. We're one choice away at being in prison or whatever. But those guys made bad choices because sometimes, a lot of times, it's just being stupid or just being a victim of their circumstance, their environment. So, yeah. But Ms. Shonda, I want to go back to, I want to definitely have both of y'all. We're going to play a video and it's talking about, giving and taking. You kind of touched on, that's why I looked at the wife. I was like, boy, she right in line.
She right in line with the video.
So we got a video to show you both. We want you to speak to this video. So we're going to play this video right quick. It's like, it's only a few seconds. Okay. So we're going to
about a minute.
About a minute. So hold on 1 second. Let me get it up here.
There's a thin line between a parasite and a friend.
Well, the thing about it is a friend or a healthy individual in a relationship makes deposits. The way that God ordained relationships were that two individuals would give to the other so that none of them would be depleted. As I continue to pour into my wife and she continues to pour into me, then I never run empty and she never runs empty. But if you have multiple relationships with a number of different people, because you are a limited resource, you can't make deposits and add value to all of those different people. The only thing you can end up doing is taking from them, taking from them, taking from them. That's what a parasite does. A parasite leeches on you, adds no tangible value to your life, and slowly siphons and sucks the life out of you.
All righty, we're back. Yeah, we'd love to hear what you.
Did y'all hear the video?
Could you hear?
Did y'all hear it? Y'all hear it and see it?
Okay.
That's a
What
word. That's a word. Hey,
That's good stuff.
Watch out for parasites. And I 100% agree with that. I think that when we're in relationship with each other, again, whether you're married, whether you're dealing with a friend or a coworker, we learn how to pour into each other. Like I said, we take on those values. What's important to you is going to be important to me. If you protecting this, I'm gonna protect it too. You know, so that's what you do in healthy relationships. You find out, and then like if I say something or do something to hurt your feelings or offend you, when you tell me that, it is my responsibility to move differently because I heard you. I heard what you said. You like, girl, you need to stop popping off at the mouth like that. And I've been doing better. Like, you move differently. You're supposed to move differently. Because if I hear that I hurt my husband hard, then I need to move differently.
Yes.
If I see it in his eyes, I gotta take accountability and move differently. Again, whether it's a friendship, whether it's a coworker, whether you're married, when you hear your loved ones say you hurt them, move differently. Be intentional. Yeah.
That is so true. We're
being intentional
about it. We're right now in the second week right now with doing the Love Dare. We're doing a 40-day summer Love Dare with our Facebook community, and it's from the movie Fireproof. That's an older movie, but it's still relevant, you know, and we love the movie, and the book is just phenomenal. We do it every day, and I remember the one day I was talking about love is not rude, and we were talking about we had to write down different things. What I loved about it is that we write down 3 things that we like about that your spouse is doing, and 3 things that we don't like that our spouse is doing. And I'm literally putting it in my journal because I want, like you said, if it hurts you, I'm not going to continue to do it. If you're saying, and it's so funny, I have to tell the first thing that was on my list that he told about me. Can I say what the first thing was? And it has been going on for 23 years. I need to stop this. I eat off his plate. He does not like when I eat off his plate. Okay. I grew up where we taste that. Yeah. He has a problem. Get your own. I will get you your own. And I just always thought it was, you know, I blew over it. 23 years we've been married, and I didn't know that was the first on his list. And I'm like, then I know from this point on, he ate something today and you enjoyed it all, didn't you? I did not. Was it hard? It's hard to change bad habits. But if it bothers him, it bothers me. And I mean, but wars have been fought over things like this. If it's irritating your spouse, and we're joking about it, but that for 23 years he's held on to that. Such a patient man. But yeah, that's one of his things that he's irritated with me. And I don't want to so in this Love Dare, we're 23 years in marriage. Even in this Love Dare, we're learning more and more about each other. And so I'm enjoying that. We're learning boundaries. We're learning different things. So that's why we opened it up to our Facebook community, that we want to do this. You're going to grow in your marriage, in your other relationships as well. You're going to pay attention to what bothers a person, what a person, not only what bothers them, but what do they like? So it's gathering that information, which has been really fun. You know, I was going to put you out there, though.
I know. But but yeah. But see, the thing is, this I like when you said whatever bothers him bothers me. And see in a lot of marriages, what we tend to do is kind of brush over it and say, you know, whatever, I'm gonna do what I want to do. And so I guess what I want to, you know, have you speak to is, because y'all been married. How long y'all been married?
17 years.
17 years. 17 years. That's awesome. I mean, been married 17 years. So it's work to be married. I think the biggest thing that I see in marriages is lack of honor, lack of respect for each other, lack of honor of feelings. You know, when a person say, and I can't stand when people say, you all in your feelings. You know, I am all in my feelings. You know what I'm saying? And so as men, you know, we tend to say, you all in your feelings, and the same. And then you got ladies saying, you all in your feelings, my man up. You got women saying, you know what I'm saying? So I guess, you know, speak to the expression of feelings. Is it okay for a man to express his feelings and not feel like not be sucked into, y'all both can speak to this too, and be sucked into that expression of the toxic masculinity type deal of being soft?
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. First of all, I'm in my feelings right now. I stay in them, and I'm trying to figure out how people not be in their feelings. But I think that men have feelings. Men are human. Men, like if you don't have feelings, if you're true, then I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. And we just have to do our men better. We have to do our men better. We have to acknowledge and honor their feelings. And we have to support them when they acknowledge their feelings, because that's new territory for them. You know, we're probably raising our kids better. Our sons are getting raised better when they know how to express what they're feeling. They feel free to do it now, because we're not saying suck it up or just deal with it anymore. But so now we have to do our adult men differently. We have to be more gentle with them. We have to create a safe space for them to stay in their masculinity and still say that hurt my feelings. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. You're still a man.
You're still a man.
Now you just said something. Go back and repeat. You said you got to be what with a man? What you said? Gentle, man. What'd you say? You said gentle.
Yeah,
that sounds like a submitted, godly woman. That sounds like a God. That sounds like a submitted wife. You know what I'm saying? You know, submitted wife. You know, submission is not a bad word. It's a powerful word. So you know what I'm saying? Because you submit to the Father, to your husband. So you're careful with his. And I'm gonna tell you this. I believe when you don't have you know, two submitted people in a marriage, somebody gonna skip out somebody and start cheating on somebody, because you're not submitted to each other as unto the Lord. You're not caring for somebody else's feelings and respecting their you know, who they are, or valuing them, like you talked about in the video about adding value to somebody, not taking but adding value.
Right.
It's all about depositing to each other. You
Definitely.
know.
You know, even at night, sometimes I ask Darren, I said, you want me to hold you tonight? Because he usually holding me.
Oh,
but
that's so sweet.
He needs to be held sometimes, you know. Sometimes that day is heavy on him. So I can hold him. That's not a problem for me. I love holding him. You know, even if he hadn't said I have to, he still needs to be held.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I love it.
That's awesome.
I love it.
That's awesome.
I love it.
So we're gonna ask you a couple more questions, and then we're gonna try to open it up to do a Q&A to people that want to ask you some questions too, if you don't mind. How has social media played? How has social media played in the role in these relationships? Healthy? I mean, how has social media played in deteriorating relationships?
Yeah. I think that social media only has as much power as we give it, you know. And that's with anything. I think we can give it too much power and open it up to our relationships. I see people sharing some very intimate things sometimes on social media are just making it a point of focus. Like, why should it be a point of focus? And then we also have to realize social media is so surface based. It's not. It's no substance to it, really, just to be honest. And then you want to ask yourself, like, what role is it playing in my life? And like, what's the point of me doing this? And a lot of times, relationships can be a little too immature to even be on social media or have social media accounts. And sometimes people have to evolve and grow into that maturity where they can really trust each other on social media. I don't know. Everybody is different, but I think that.
Oh, well, we lost him. I knew it was wiggling out.
We lost him again.
Hey, while we're before we wrap up tonight, if you have any questions, you can put it in the comment section. In the comment section.
Yeah, if you have, we go try to get her back. But yeah, if you
finish with that social media question.
Social media question. But if you have any questions, leave it in the comment section. We're open. This is an authentic, real, and transparent podcast, and you can definitely come on and ask questions of us, or ask questions to our guests. And her husband's law enforcement, and she is a psychotherapist. We hope you're enjoying, this time to be on here and listen to some real situations about maintaining emotionally healthy relationships. Also, being a single person, you're multiple relationships with friends. And, it's not just for married people, but this is for all people who desire to be in relationships. One thing Van Moody said, and I got this book called People Factor. One thing he said in the book, he said, a lot of where you're at is because of relationships. You need relationships. You cannot do life alone. You cannot do life alone. The Bible says that it's not good that man should be alone. And I believe it's not just talking about a man, it's talking about people, women being by themselves. You cannot do life by yourself. You need community. The Bible says, forsake not the assembly of your brethren. We need each other in order to grow each other into being and connecting with each other so we can grow together. Yes. It's vital. It's vital for our growth, that we grow together and be where our God wants us to be. So we're going to wait on here for a minute for them. If you have any questions, definitely put in the comments section. Don't be shy.
Or if you're enjoying yourself, some hearts or something, and let us know that you are
like the podcast, like the broadcast.
You're on our YouTube channel. You can like and subscribe to our channel.
We'd love to have you on it to subscribe to our channel and support what we're doing. So I appreciate that. So we just wait for them to come back. Thank you.
Thank you for the hearts. Thank you. And if you would like to, since we're talking, we'll use this time wisely, since they're off. If you would like to be a guest on our podcast, you're more than welcome to join us here. We'll definitely have the information up at the end. We do have, you can sign up through Better TWO together at gmail.com. If you would like to be a guest on here as well, if you're an expert and you'd like to come on and have a topic, we'd love to have you on here. But this is really blessed tonight. We thank you for the hearts and the thumbs up that you're really getting something out of this. And I believe we have them back, and we're going to go back to the social media questions. But put those questions in the.
There we go. Woo!
In the comment section. There you go. You were kind of breaking up, and I was praying like, please don't let her go. Don't let her go.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
No, you're good. You're good.
Tonight.
That is okay. But you were speaking on the social media, allowing what you allow it to have as much control in your life is where you've placed that social media in your life. And could you speak a little bit more? I think we lost you you were speaking on that.
Well, exactly. We don't want to give it too much power. And just like anything else in life, we have to have boundaries on it. Keep boundaries on it. Don't expose too much. And just know that your relationships, especially your marriage, that's a sacred relationship. Yeah. It's not everybody's business, So keep it sacred. Protect it. Yeah. And your kids too. Protect those kids too. So
yes. And I'm loving this that you're speaking on that, because I sometimes could be the phone police sometimes with our family. Like we go out to dinner or we're at dinner. I don't want the phones at the table because I don't feel like we communicate. It's just like, And I was reading the Boundaries book I just finished, and there was something that they said really cool, and it was like they took their kids out to eat, and they had college students and everything, and they made a phone tower of all the phones, and they said the first person to touch the phone had to pay the bill.
Oh, okay.
We'll use that. So they stacked them up. Nobody touched their phones, and they had great dialogue and communication. And that's one thing, like when Dennis and I go out on dates, that's one of the requirements is like, I'll put the phones in my purse and we're going to talk, because I look around. I love to watch people, and I love to look at tables, and I'm like, I love looking at older couples that are sitting there and they're talking to each other. They're having dialogue. And then you can turn around and you see a whole table full of, and I don't want to judge anyone. The baby has a tablet. Everybody have a tablet, and nobody's talking. They're looking at this, and I'm like, how we become so, detached from each other. And you mentioned something earlier about being present. Being present is not just sitting here with you, but I'm present. I'm spending time with you. Like, we hang out in my husband's man cave because that's our spot, and I don't even have to say anything to him. But he knows, and even if I put my hand on his lap or something, he knows I'm there with him, and I'm watching a program with him, or we're, whatever we're doing, but we're sharing that time together. So I really like how you said, how you put it, where it's what you've allowed it to be in your life, and everything. So power.
Yeah. And so the thing is, what I want to go back to is men. As men, I believe I did a podcast with LaShanda, and we got a big response on that. But that podcast about men and mental health. What I've learned over the last, and I'm a veer towards the church a little bit. What I've always noticed is that, people say you use your faith, believe God, and but if I'm dealing with an emotional issue or trauma, or I'm dealing with a mental situation, I need some therapy. I need somebody that's going to help me navigate through that situation. And see, us as men, what we tend to do, we tend to let that ego rise up and say, you know what, I can take it. I'm a man. I can do it. I can take it. And I heard ego. Somebody told me ego means easing God out.
Yeah.
And so therapy is so vital to your healing spiritually as well. So and I know Shonda, you talk with men as well. I guess, speak to what is one thing that presents a roadblock to men when they're, I guess, doing therapy. What's one thing that you see that typically is a roadblock for them to receive their healing during therapy?
Well, men wanting to, or just giving themselves, putting pressure on themselves to have the answers. They feel like they're supposed to have the answer because they're men.
Yeah.
And you don't have the answers, not all the time. And a lot of times you don't know. And here's the thing too. Some of these times you're not supposed to know, because you're moving and you in transition and you evolving. So a lot of times you're just not going to know. But another thing is pride, pride can be very destructive and hold you back. So that pride is you like, I'm gonna deal with this myself. You internalize it. But when you internalize it, are you really being helpful to the people around you? You're not being helpful to yourself or the people around you. And if you're gonna internalize and you're married, like, what does that says in a relationship? Because they say if you omit information, it's like telling a lie, right? You're being deceitful. So if you're going to withhold information from your spouse when you can grow together, then what are we going to call that? You still kind of being deceitful.
Yeah, deceitful.
You can't just have other aspects of your life open and then some of them closed off. How are we going to grow together? How am I going to know how to pray for you? And go to therapy. Therapy is good because therapy helps you to iron out some of those thoughts that you're having, some of those issues that you're having that you may not be able to open up with other people and talk about with your pastor, because your pastor may not always be available.
That's true.
That's right.
That's true. That's good. That's so
good. That's so good. And I got one last question. I'm gonna leave it alone. So speak to our single people, because you got, I mean, this dating scene, man, out here. Woo. And we gonna woo. This I couldn't be. I mean, like, it's hard for single people. I mean, it's hard. I mean,
we hear a lot.
It's a lot.
Single.
It's hard. I mean, it's hard for a single person to date out here nowadays, especially when you have a believer who's trying to do it God's way. And so, you got so much of the culture that's trying to define what we do in church as opposed to we need to show the world. We need to show culture how God does it. You know what I'm saying? It shouldn't be culture over the kingdom. It should be kingdom over culture. Mm-hmm. And so how does a person mentally deal with being, a single person mentally, mentally and emotionally? How do they deal with, I guess, dealing with social media? How do they deal with culture changes? I mean, it's not only a spiritual adjustment, but it's a mental adjustment too. How do they deal with that? I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that I agree with you. Singles out here these days are really having a really hard time. Yeah. Because everybody has their standards, and a lot of times people don't want to do online dating. I'm old fashioned. If I wasn't married, I really just want a man to approach me physically and say something kind and ask for my number, have a conversation. Mm-hmm. That's what I would prefer. Mm-hmm. So notes to the parents, please, let's teach our sons to approach girls.
Yeah,
because we have to switch this dating thing up, because social media, and then we have all these photo filters and things. So it puts so much AI pressure on you. So I wouldn't want to be single these days. But if you are single, you know what's important to you. Don't be in on that. Don't be in on that. You know? Don't feel like you have to lower your standards to culture. Just wait for your person. Wait for your person. Your person is out there. Just continue to be patient. And I know you don't want to hear that word patient. Mm-hmm, but wouldn't you rather be patient than to settle? You don't want to settle. That's good. Lower your standards. So just embrace the patient aspect of this journey right now, and continue to learn who you are, and make sure you're taking good care of yourself, learning how to be in relationship with yourself. So when you meet your person, you could be already ready for your person. You can stand up 2 feet, and you'll be so comfortable with you that you can be authentic with them, So and that's going to make for a healthy relationship. If you're healthy, then you're going to attract healthy people.
That's good.
So good.
so in other words, you're saying self-care is not self-care is not selfish. It's beneficial.
It is selfish, but it's a healthy version of selfish, and it's okay. But just like everything, we have to have boundaries, and we can go too far with being selfish.
Right.
Selfish can be healthy, if that means you taking care of yourself. And keep in mind about self-care, that doesn't mean that you get to enjoy everything you want to enjoy at every minute. Self-care is doing the things that are good for you, even when you don't want to do them.
Right.
That's good. That's good.
Exercise, just when you don't want to do it, it's good for you. But eating the right foods and definitely.
And also be aware of your self-talk. That's self-care.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
And gentle with yourself. Be mindful of that abusive talk.
Man.
Be mindful of that and work through that. Be responsible for that. Don't treat yourself that way. Learn how to treat yourself. Learn how to be kind to yourself, and get used to that before you go get into a relationship.
Hey, Shonda, what you call that? It's the name you call it.
When you are self-critical to a point is unhealthy, I call it internal domestic violence.
Wow.
Internal domestic violence.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, you just dropped the mic.
No, that's what she told me. She told me that. She dropped. Yeah, I'll be in a session like, wait a minute, let me digest that.
That's good.
Internal domestic abuse. So y'all hear that out there?
Yes.
It don't internally abuse yourself. It's don't internally cause yourself to be abused. Don't beat yourself up. Give yourself grace.
Give yourself
You're
grace.
human. You're human.
You are human.
You're
you are human.
Yeah,
you
you're
are
human. Don't let nobody else do it. Because the thing is, if you do it to yourself, that's who is going to attract themselves to you.
Yeah.
But if you're emotionally healthy, like Shonda
Healthy.
said, you attract emotionally healthy people.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's for that single person out there. Take that golden nugget.
Mm-hmm.
Take that golden nugget.
Said, wow. I agree.
Yeah. Take that golden nugget. Run with that one.
That was good.
I dropped the mic on that one.
That was good. I have to say something when you said that. It brought my attention to, I know we're about to wrap up, but I remember when we had our daughter, because we have 2 boys and have a little baby girl. And I remember one time, that self-talk is so true. I remember standing and I'm being very transparent, standing in the mirror, and I was going at it. I was talking about myself so bad. I'm like, you've gained this weight. You've done this. Oh, you did that. And I'm going at it. And lo and behold, right behind me was my daughter looking at me talk to myself like that. And I said, Lord, I thank you for sending my daughter. She was instrumental for me to stop all that negative talk that I was giving myself, because I'm her future. You know what I'm saying? I'm her mom. And if I'm doing that, it's going to come a time when she's a teenager or she comes, I'm this, I'm that. And then she's going to say, well, I'm going to say, well, where'd you hear that from? Well, mommy, I hear you telling yourself that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
An eye opener for me. I mean, it was like eureka, that moment. So the talk that you give yourself, those affirmations do make a difference. And what you're saying over yourself, you want to make sure that you're saying, because your kids are watching you. That's another thing, the things that you're speaking over yourself. So I didn't want to generationally pass that on to my children, especially not my daughter, with all the things that's out there that she has to already deal with anyway. But I didn't want that her hear that those damaging words coming from me telling myself that. So when you said that, I was like, wow, that was, it is so true about that.
Yep.
Definitely.
Good. So, we're going to start this, and we're not going to keep the banks too long, but we want to definitely start this segment. Where's that thing at, babe? Where's my little thing right here? I think it's right here. I think it's right here. Hold on, let me go here. Okay.
If we have any you talking about Q&A?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we'll do. If you have any Q&A, while we're waiting, Shonda, how can anyone that's like in the Birmingham area, how can they reach out to you? Do you have a social media page or platform or anything like that?
I don't have a social media page. I have a website. You can go to 7thwellness.com, and that's the number 7, thwellness.com. And you can reach me there. You can reach me. My phone number is 205-690-8926.
Okay.
But if you go to that website, you can send me an email directly.
Okay, great. And we'll definitely make sure that we'll post that when this is released. We'll put your contact information out there. If anybody wants to get your tremendous services, we thank you so much for both of you being here and just being, you're the first here on our platform and inaugural. And, we worked through the technical problems and kept it going, and thank you so much for being so patient with us and everything and your time and just all that you poured into us and some great takeaways. We love to have you both back. We may get such a demand and we may have a part 2, because I know we didn't exhaust this in regards to emotionally healthy relationships.
Yeah. So I am a product of her work. What she's, I think I've been going to you for a year, right?
A little bit
over a year. So she's been a blessing to me. And you got to have I want to say this too. When you're seeing a therapist, she actually gave me this revelation. You have to have chemistry. You have to have a connection. And so just because that person's a therapist and you got to have a connection with that person, because if you don't have a connection, then the healing can't take place. You know,
Right.
you're not going to open up. So it's stuff I open up about is because we have a connection. You got to have a connection with your therapist.
Yes.
You know, so you know, just definitely keep that in mind with that situation. But we got a short time where we can actually open up for questions. Do you have any questions? You can get on here and say it, put it in the comments section, and either us or definitely our guests can ask questions if you have any. So you can get, if you want to put some questions in there, put in the comment
We might
section.
have hit all the questions tonight.
Yeah, don't be shy now. Don't be shy now.
We might have. Oh, but yes, but definitely.
You got any comments, questions, whatever you want to put in there?
Oh, we're so happy to have you.
Thanks for
so
having
happy
us.
to have you both here, taking out your time with us tonight and everything. So,
Absolutely.
yes.
Appreciate it. Appreciate
It's
it.
been good. I always love giving back. I always love to pour into other people and to receive, because I'm always open. I'm always learning. I have never mastered anything yet in my life.
That's it. Always learning, teachable, always teachable. Same here. We've learned. You poured so much into us tonight. We'll definitely be talking about this.
Mm-hmm.
In our quiet times, we'll be talking about the takeaways from this. So definitely thank you so much for having you as guests tonight.
Yes.
We're going to go ahead and wrap up because it doesn't look like we hit the points tonight.
Y'all got no questions up there? What's up?
And we hit the points tonight, and we're going to
Okay.
It was fun.
This was fun. Thank you all for hanging in with us here. We're Better Together with Dennis.
And
I
Dennis said
start it again. Blue. Okay, you ready? Thank you so much for hanging in with us. We're Better Together with
Dennis
and Lonnie C. All right. Thanks so much. Be blessed.
Be blessed, y'all. All right.
Bye.